we'll start with this. Well, a young up-and-comer, Zarina McCoy, who campaigns in the super flyweight division, who was in action not but 2 or 3 days ago, advancing to a professional record of 7 wins, no losses with 2 knockouts. She is once again stirring the pot to land a fight with her professional rival, Senicia Estrada. Senicia Estrada, who very recently became a 2-division champion by unseating Japan's own then reigning WBO flyweight champion, Tenkai Tsunami. And, I've spoken to Zarina McCoy. Very clever kid. This fresh-faced youngster has a high ceiling and a lot of potential. But I think here and now, it's too early for a Senicia Estrada fight. I mean, it really is. Senicia Estrada has considerable more experience as a professional against a higher caliber of opponents than Zarina McCoy has even had the opportunity to face as of yet.
She needs more developmental fights.
She needs to continue to develop and round out as a fighter before she's ready to take on someone like a Senicia Estrada. Don't get me wrong. Zarina McCoy is a cut above, well above a Miranda Atkins or somebody like that. I mean, she really is.
Yeah, she's good.
You don't see that many pure boxers at the lighter weights. Most of those girls, they're pressure fighters, boxer punchers, scrappers, essentially. Whereas Zarina McCoy is a finesse fighting kind of fighter. You don't come across a lot of those kinds of fighters at these weights. And she's got a high ceiling. Unlimited potential, not exclusive to the super flyweight division.
I could see her moving up.
As high as bantamweight and even super bantamweight, because Zarina McCoy, fresh-faced youngster, is very young and is still growing, maturating as an athlete, maturating as a fighter. And it is good that Zarina McCoy wants this kind of a fight with this kind of a fighter. It's everything you want in a prospect, that even if they're not yet ready for this kind of a challenge, they're still willing to rise to it. Rise to the occasion. For Senicia Estrada, this is a blessing in disguise. Having this kind of a young rival in hot pursuit of a fight with you, because this is the kind of fight that can be built later on down the line into something bigger. This kind of a domestic rivalry.
I mean, I don't see this happening anytime in the near future.
I don't think that young Zarina is quite ready for this just yet, but I do like that she's ambitious enough this early to pursue it. It's all the makings of bona fide fighter. The real McCoy, Zarina McCoy. Moving on, I'm sure that most of you have heard the big news by now. It's official. Joshua versus Usyk is all set to go down September 25th at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London in front of 60,000 screaming boxing fans. They've got the all clear.
60,000 plus.
The first real big heavyweight contest. The first real big heavyweight fight of 2021.
It's not a big heavyweight fight without Anthony Joshua.
Let's be fucking serious here. Whole world was disappointed to hear that the undisputed heavyweight title fight wasn't going to go down because of the arbitrator's ruling well over a month ago. Everything was on a somber note ever since then. Wilder vs. Fury 3 ain't got no buzz around it. It's not generating no excitement whatsoever. Even less excitement when you find out that it's postponed because Tyson Fury's got a scratchy throat or a shrimp allergy or COVID or whatever it is.
Fuck him.
Fuck that fight. Nobody cares about that shit. I'm just going to come right out and say it. The boxing community, for the most part, is sick and tired of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury's melodrama. People don't have the stomach for it anymore. It's not interesting. It's not entertaining.
Nobody cares.
I said it after the rematch. I don't see a point in the third fight. Not when the second fight was all one-way traffic. Not when the second fight was
one-sided.
One-sided beating. Listen, whether this whole goddamn trilogy between Deontay and Tyson is scripted melodrama, whether this is as a result of collusion to try to freeze Anthony Joshua out, or it is exactly the way it appears. One way or another, nobody's interested. Nobody cares.
Boxing fans want to see boxing matches.
Not fiasco between them. It's robbed us of one of the bigger, if not the biggest, heavyweight contest we would have seen in recent memory. The undisputed title fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. We've already seen Tyson Fury fight Deontay Wilder 2 times. There's not much intrigue in a third.
But at least now we have this to look forward to.
And what felt a lot like the 11th hour, Matchroom got the deal done, and we're going to get a big heavyweight fight September 25th between Anthony Joshua and his WBO mandatory challenger, Oleksandr Usyk. A lot of mixed feelings about this fight, but you know what I have noticed? A lot of Anthony Joshua appreciation posts from different people that, regardless of who you think is going to win this fight, if you take a look at Anthony Joshua's track record so far,
he's got the most complete body of work in this entire division.
The most robust body of work with the most consistency and the least amount of shenanigans, the least amount of circus acts and antics. But Anthony Joshua ain't got to turn this into a dog and pony show to sell tickets. He's a boxer that has big boxing matches, and that's enough for the boxing fans, because at the end of the day, take away all the bells and whistles, that's what we're here for. That's what this is all about. All these other outfits are spending so much time shopping around for the right kind of wrapping paper.
Presentation.
The gimmicks, really, they're just focused on the wrong thing. And I think that a lot of the fight fans, at least a good number of them, they're starting to realize that Anthony Joshua is doing the most for this division on a more consistent basis than everybody else. He's satisfying his mandatories.
No crying, no controversies.
Just alpha male behavior, which is what you would expect from a reigning heavyweight champion. Not the wishy-washiness of Tyson Fury,
The absentee champion.
or the cringe-worthy excuses from Deontay Wilder. These guys, they want to take everybody for a ride. They get so focused on the bells and whistles, they forget to check tire pressure.
Check the oil.
Brake pad calipers and the rotors.
This is a genuinely intriguing fight in every sense of the word. It's a genuinely intriguing fight for all the right reasons. This will be the third Olympic gold medalist Anthony Joshua will have taken on. The first was Vladimir Klitschko. The second was Alexander Povetkin. And here we have Alexander Usyk, a fighter who some people think, base style, it's not something that Anthony Joshua has come up against before, and perhaps he will struggle to deal with it. In turn, Anthony Joshua, some people think the size, power, and pedigree of the reigning unified heavyweight champion will prove to be too much for the cruiserweight upstart turned heavyweight contender.
Looking forward to it, regardless of what happens.
Ring Magazine's and the Neutral Corner's Michael Monterio said it best. The boxing industry has been frustrating and disappointing as hell this summer, but August 21st through September 25th is going to be pretty damn solid. That 5-week span has some nice matchups, and it really does. I mean, boxing needed this good news. We got an undisputed title fight this past weekend.
It left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Already had a bad taste in their mouths as a result of the undisputed heavyweight title fight's collapse. You tack that on with this past weekend's fight, what's supposed to normally be cause for celebration in the boxing world, undisputed championship being crowned, and we were deprived of that due to a judge's bad scorecard. So the world of boxing really did need some good news, and that's what this is. Big heavyweight title fight that has genuine sizzle, genuine intrigue, a genuine air of mystery, where it's not a foregone conclusion what happens. On September 25th, we're going to find out what's what. Speaking of that stretch between August 21st and September 25th, per tweet from Mike Coppinger and his sources, Canelo Alvarez and Caleb Plant are closing in on a deal for September 18th bout in Las Vegas, a PBC on Fox pay-per-view for the undisputed 168-pound championship. One fight offer from the PBC that would likely earn Alvarez a career-high payday.
Career high?
I don't really know what Mike means by that. What, we're expecting Canelo Alvarez to make more off of this fight than what he made in those two Golovkin fights?
Yeah, right.
I think this fight has the potential to be a pay-per-view success, I do, but I don't know that it cracks 1 million.
You think Mike's still towing the company line?
The company line for the PBC, yeah, he might be exaggerating what they have to offer Canelo Alvarez on their side of the street. Rest assured, it's going to take a substantial amount of money to get him over there, but I don't know that that amount of money comes close to the amount of money he made fighting Gennady Golovkin.
And career high in what sense of the word?
Career high as far as what? The guaranteed purse, or a career high purse overall once the pay-per-view buys are in? I mean, what are we actually talking about here? Because Caleb Plant, in no way, shape, or form, has the buzz around him that Gennady Golovkin had when Canelo fought him. So as far as a career high purse, I'm going to have to see it to believe it. Per a tweet from Michael Benson, Eddie Hearn has revealed that Dillian Whyte's next fight could now land on Canelo's undercard, September 18th. He said talks for Undisputed versus Caleb Plant are still ongoing, and they're considering an offer from the PBC to stage it, as well as Matchroom DAZN options. I'm not sure that Dillian Whyte's next fight takes place on the undercard of Canelo's if Canelo's next fight lands on the Fox PBC side of things. I don't see that happening. It's conceivable that if Canelo versus Plant happens on the PBC side of things, they're going to want to decorate the card with their own fighters, showcase them.
Yeah, I think so.
And we'll see what happens with that. In my previous video, I talked about how that multi-fight deal they were trying to walk Canelo Alvarez into, that's not the way to go. Canelo Alvarez wants his freedom, and Fox and the PBC's best bet at landing this fight is that one-off offer, that one-off deal. No strings attached.
And even then, it's not a guarantee.
According to Eddie Hearn, DAZN is still very much interested in staging the fight on their side of things. That comes as a surprise to no one. And right now, it's in the air. We don't know where the fight will end up, though it is conceivable that perhaps it does end up on Fox on a pay-per-view in a one-off situation. And for the PBC and Fox, that would be their big rehearsal, their big opportunity to make an impression on Canelo Alvarez so that perhaps they can do more business moving forward.
And this is the virtue of free agency.
You get the field offers from anybody and everybody that's willing to make them, and you have the liberty to choose what you think is right for you. Not every fighter, however, has the marquee value of a Canelo Alvarez. Not every fighter
Ends up in a position where they can do this.
So, free agency, as it were, is more beneficial to some fighters, at least one fighter, than it is for many others. At this point, Canelo Alvarez is a big enough name, a big enough attraction, that he's going to have several platforms making big cash offers just to host his fights because it's an opportunity for them as well. And, you know, it's the funniest thing because I can remember a few weeks ago, maybe a few months, you had guys making their little YouTube videos about how Errol Spence Jr.'s marquee value was on par with Canelo Alvarez when, hey, Spence is lucky to be getting the back seat in a Manny Pacquiao fight. He's lucky to be getting that. Whereas, you see here, how hard Fox and the PBC are working to work with Canelo. How hard they're working to land a Canelo Alvarez fight. They're gonna roll out the red carpet.
Get your Mochuelo to do a coffee run.
Tell David Benavidez to get the bagels.
This is a real star, a real marquee attraction. Not you guys. You know, they can have David fight Caleb in a little Fox pay-per-view, and it is a good fight. It is an interesting fight, but it don't do the business that Canelo Alvarez does.
You can do your little fight.
Your little fighters, and those mutants that swear by your brand, they can fool themselves into believing whatever it is they want to believe.
Yeah, I saw a guy on Twitter talking about Canelo sells cheap seats.
There's some moron on Twitter trying to say that Canelo Alvarez versus Billy Joe Saunders wasn't a big fight. Then why did it draw such a big crowd? A crowd big enough that it broke the indoor attendance record in this country. See any of those PBC guys doing those kinds of numbers?
Guys jump for joy whenever Davis sells 14,000 cheap seats.
And nickel and diamond over here, sweetheart.
It's Canelo Alvarez, and I don't know that he's going to take that offer from Fox and the PBC. I don't know that he isn't. I just know that this is the kind of marquee value that a PBC fighter can only dream about. I will admit a few things. I would prefer that the fight goes to DAZN as opposed to Fox and the PBC, because on DAZN it won't come at any additional charge to me or you. I mean, DAZN is perfectly capable of paying Caleb Plant a career-high purse, but, you know, Caleb, like every other PBC fighter, for whatever reason, they're afraid to leave their neighborhood.
What the fuck are you so afraid of?
I often ask myself that question when it comes to these PBC peacocks, these PBC prima donnas, who are always demanding that everything happen on their side of things. And, you know, there are certain perils with Canelo Alvarez going over there to the PBC side of things. How much consideration a PBC fighter might get on a PBC promotion, a PBC card, that Caleb Plant already doesn't stand a very good chance of beating Canelo Alvarez. He doesn't. But he does stand his best chance, relatively speaking, on a PBC card, a PBC show.
Canelo's got to knock this guy out.
To prevent any funny-looking scorecards from coming in, any funny business at all, like what we saw this past weekend, Canelo does have to stop Caleb Plant. And I think that he can, but I also hope that he will.
Those guys are shysters over there.
And just in keeping with the theme of all things Canelo Alvarez, on Canelo Alvarez's birthday, which I believe was yesterday, Oscar De La Hoya posted this tweet that reads, "Mira tu pinche promotor acusándote y yo siempre en tu esquina defendiendo," which translates into, "Look at your promoter accusing you while I have always been in your corner." And this is
Sad.
Exactly as it appears.
Oscar's become unhinged.
Noticeably feeling raw about the split, that Canelo Alvarez made the decision to part ways with Golden Boy, and now he's in bed with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn, who, you know, not that long ago, he accused Canelo Alvarez of being a dirty fighter.
Like a lot of people did back then.
3 years ago when he tested positive for traces of clenbuterol. Oscar De La Hoya seems to have a lot of time on his hands to dig up videos, comments Eddie Hearn made 3 years ago when he really should be tending to his own matters, his own business.
Because you ain't in the Canelo Alvarez business anymore.
That relationship is over, and you need to move on. Oscar's human. I can understand why he's upset. I can even understand if he's not over it yet, because it really wasn't that long ago that Canelo Alvarez parted ways with him, with Golden Boy Promotions. I get it, but this is far too messy.
It's only getting messier.
Oscar's supposed to be having some kind of exhibition, novelty fight of his own. Very recently, he said he wants to have 2 fights like that and see about getting a Floyd Mayweather Jr. rematch, which we all know isn't going to happen, or a Canelo Alvarez fight. He really is wearing his heart on his sleeve when it comes to this stuff. And all it really does, all it really accents is how hurt he is that Canelo Alvarez is off somewhere else with someone else making all this goddamn money, and Oscar can't be a part of that.
It's not conducive towards anything.
These outbursts from Oscar, who's behaving more and more like a woman scorned, a jilted ex who can't just leave the past in the past.
It's over.
Get the hell out of here.
At this point, you're just embarrassing yourself. What do you think? If you dig up more things Eddie Hearn said 3 years ago, Canelo Alvarez is going to come running back
Open arms.
like nothing ever happened? Hey, newsflash, if Canelo Alvarez left, it's your fault. You were double dealing that guy. You promised things to DAZN as a platform to enter into a platform deal with them. You promised him things that were not in keeping with your pre-existing agreement, Canelo Alvarez.
Which should have honored.
But you didn't, so he left. And there's no going back. You can't rewrite history, and you can't change the past. So what you need to do is focus on moving forward, focus on what fighters you do have, because this one ain't one of them.
Anymore.